All righty, welcome back. How you doing? You're watching Stop the Steal, and the steal's going on around the country. It's just so crazy. I mean, you see all this crap going down. Rudy Giuliani, Bernie Kerik, Jenna Ellis, they're all out there. Everybody's out there, all these different states. Nevada right now, they have a big case going on in Nevada that we're waiting for the judge to rule on supposedly today. The judge in Nevada, they're asking the judge in Nevada to throw out the whole election. Some odd 20,000 people that absolutely positively voted who were dead, 80% of them for Joe Biden. That puts Donald Trump over the top. I think they said there were 11,000 or 40,000 votes from people who voted in 2 states, so they have to pick one. So half of them are going to be gone. And lo and behold, isn't it odd that all these mail-in votes and all these provisional ballots, everything that was on paper, in all the blue states that did these mail-in voting, this is all the problem. So maybe somebody smart brings a RICO case and says this entire election was tainted. Granted, you had your scamdemic in there, and a lot of blue governors went and did crazy things. And granted, we got a whole bunch of low-level thugs in these blue cities where they pulled off all these intimidation tactics and fraud. Granted all that, but there is just too much uncertainty about the legitimacy of this election, and we are going to revert to the constitutionally provided way of fixing the situation. Now, what's the constitutional way of fixing this situation is each state has their 2 houses of the legislature vote on who they think won the election, or the electors, okay? And they get to choose the electors. So they will vote, and the majority of the electors will be awarded to whoever the 2 houses ratify as the winner. So now 2 things can happen here. We can get across the board, we have 26 states where we have both houses of the legislature. So we can get across the board 26 states to send their electors, the Trump electors, to Washington. And then Donald Trump, all he has to do is accept. Okay. Now the other thing, this could get really hairy, is if a few states decide that they're not going to send the Trump electors, and a few states send Biden electors instead, then both candidates could essentially be under 270. So now, what do? Well, founding fathers, they were a bunch of cool cats, and they were kind of brilliant if you think about the representative form of democracy they set up here in our republic. What did they do? Well, they said, all right, well, if that whole electoral mumbo jumbo doesn't work out, and you send it to the legislatures, and then the legislatures send the electors, and the electors don't add up to 270 for either person, what to do? The OGs of America, they had an idea what to do. What they said is, hey, in the event that happens, we will still return it to the people. We, the people, get to make the ultimate decision. You know what they call the House of Representatives? They call that the People's House. And that's why the terms in the House of Representatives are only 2 years, because that's where they want people being represented, all those small little towns and counties and congressional districts. And you got to work to stay in the People's House. Every 2 years, you got to be hustling. You got to be showing results. So they want real people who are working for real results. Now in the Senate, their terms are 6 years. That's why there's all white-haired white men over there, because they get 6 years in office. And that's why they call that the deliberative house. So the House of Representatives, you can get hot, you can get volatile, you can get crazy. They pass a crazy rule, they send it over to the Senate, and the Senate, they don't have to get reelected for 6 years. So they go, oh, whoa. Everybody take a chill pill. Let's have a sit down over here and talk about it. Let's power a few congressional hearings and stuff. And then we'll think about it, right? So that's why we got this whole bicameral government, House, Senate. This is how things work. I hate to go remedial on you like this, but you got to understand what's happening. So the founding fathers said, if all else fails, my fellow citizens and citizens of the future, what shall you do? We will prescribe a method. And that method is the following. you go to the people's house, the House of Representatives, and you go stage by stage. Okay, so now people get nervous. Oh no, JT, we can't go to the, if we go to the House of Representatives, we're dead because Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats control the House, and then they're going to get to pick the next president. No, that's not how it goes down. This is the beautiful part. What the founding fathers prescribed for us to use was the following. They said, hey, you go to the House of Representatives, and you go to each state and you count up the number of Congress people they have. And then whichever party has a majority of those Congress people, they get one vote. So each state gets diluted down to one vote, and the one vote is basically, not basically, is empirically formed by who has more Congress people in the state, and then the majority gets to elect one elector, and that person can go elect Donald Trump. Now, we have 26, they have 23. I think there's one split or something like that. But again, if you go state by state legislatures, we have them. If it fails because a couple of Republican legislatures go rogue, and that could happen too. So you gotta, don't forget, we got to keep our eye on the prize because we need Republicans to stand up for what they are right now. And they're going to get threats, and they're going to get the Antifa, and all those guys are going to be out there trying to intimidate them. And the ones that don't stick to the plan and vote for the party that they're supposed to be voting for, the people they represent, if they don't do that, then I can guarantee you this. I'm going to, along with probably a lot of other people, do all I can to primary people who did not vote for what is prescribed in our Constitution. It's pretty scary if they don't. So let me tell you this. Donald Trump, at this point, could put this thing on autopilot, sit back, and say, okay, Republicans, be what you are. If you're not Republicans, you don't want to do the right thing, you want to let them steal the White House, Donald Trump will probably come back with a fury in 2 years, primary every single Republican that didn't go out there and do what he was supposed to do in this election, and then start another crazy movement that our country probably doesn't need right now, because we don't really need to divide the Republican Party. So, you know, I would make a strong, encouraging plea to the Republican leadership to get all your ducks in a row and know that everybody's going to be voting the way they have to vote, because it's getting more and more clear that this is not a free and fair election. 70% of America now think there was some fraud in the election. So the numbers start getting higher and higher. Not a good thing. Not a good look. Right here in New York, not a good look either when the governor and the mayor are doing these tyrannical, draconian rules and regulations where they're arbitrarily setting zones now of who can be in business and who can't. So we got to stop the steal nationally. And right here in Staten Island, New York, we got to stop the steal locally. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more Liquid Lunch right after this.